When the Flesh and Blood hero Yorick was first revealed, it was met with a large amount of backlash from the TCG community at large. Yorick is a hero where, at the start of the game, every player shuffles their deck into one communal deck and then use that deck to play with throughout the course of the game. A lot of folks said stuff like, I don't want people touching my cards. I don't trust others not to ruin them. When I saw Yorick for the very first time, I thought to myself, this is awesome. And not only that, this single card, Yorick, Weaver of Tales, embodies the soul of Flesh and Blood, coming together in the Flesh and Blood under the common language of playing great games. Yorick is the embodiment of the spirit of the game. And honestly, it just sounded like a ton of fun. How's it going, Rogues Gallery? And today, I'm going to share with you my Yorick Ultimate Pit Fight deck. This is the deck that I brought to Worlds and we played with, and it was a ton of fun. If you have not seen my Worlds travel log yet, go ahead and do so. Maybe the last 5 minutes are snippets from this Yorick game. But this character, I just love so much. I built this deck with a lot of care and attention. Not only do I want my friends to play with my cards, I want them to play with some of the most expensive cards that I have. And I mixed in a little jank there. So we're talking about, we have Max Fables in this deck. We have Alpha Enlightened Strikes, double foil Command and Conquers, first edition Art of Wars. I want my friends to shuffle these cards up and to play with them, because that is the spirit of Flesh and Blood, to play great games in the Flesh and Blood with awesome people. And that is exactly what I wanted to do with this. That was exactly my goal. So join me as I talk about Yorick, Weaver of Tales in Ultimate Pit Fight, in a deck that, for me, is a love letter to Flesh and Blood. Let's do it. And as always, the deck list is in the description down below, but I encourage you to watch the rest of the video to find out why I included the cards that I included. There's some really interesting choices here, and some cards that I think are so much better in a format where you play Yorick than otherwise. Also, I'd just like to draw your quick attention to this lovely playmat, which I think embodies the spirit of Yorick and the spirit of Flesh and Blood. It is the World of Wraith map, signed by many, many of my friends from the Flesh and Blood community. We have everyone from Sam Yang to Flake to DM Armada and James White himself. Look, there's a Tan and Grace there too. So a lot of my friends in the community and just some truly excellent people coming together in the Flesh and Blood under the common language of playing great games to share our experiences and joy with each other. And that's what it's all about. And that's what this Yorick deck is about. So what does Yorick even do? Yorick, Weaver of Tales, is a young bard hero, 4 health, 20 life, and it says, at the start of the game, all heroes shuffle their starting decks together. All heroes share the same decks and graveyard this game. And it has this absolutely lovely flavor text that says, a story of legend is said to be told. The dawn of a new age, a sight to behold. From all corners of Wraith, heroes they came. The common language they spoke was that of great games. Oh, I love it. And then also this is just a double-sided for the awesome, the awesome full art glory of Yorick. So that's kind of the conceit here. Everyone shuffles their deck together and plays from a large communal deck. And it's actually not as grindy as it sounds for many reasons. And we'll talk about that as we go on. Our weapon of choice here is one of the only ones we can choose. It is Hummingbird, Call of Adventure, a Bard Lute. It is a two-handed weapon. I'm going to use the word weapon very loosely here. At the start of your turn, choose one. Each hero gets a Quicken token, or draws a card, or gains 1 life. And it also has a double-sided flavor on the back. It says, when cometh thou turn, pick a tail. Quicken be bold, or drawn and quartered. Or health be good, y'all. I like to choose draw a card or Quicken token. The health thing makes the game last maybe a little bit too long, unless you personally need the health. But getting getting extra card every turn is pretty sweet, and everyone else gets an extra card, so they can all kill each other quicker and get the game over faster, so it's not like a 4-hour game or something like that. The Quicken one is also great, especially if you don't have a Quicken token and other players do, because kind of 2 Quicken tokens are more or less redundant. So yeah, actual key part of this deck, just drawing cards, is really, really good. Our equipment loadout's very simple because we can only run generic cards. We're running Arcanite Skullcap for that block and the Arcane Barrier if we need it. We run the Fyendal Spring Tunic for that resource overtime, and you can block with it as well. I actually really like Time Skippers in this deck because you don't know what your opponents are playing and shuffling together. So just for 3 resources, getting 2 action points is very good. Lets you just do 2 of whatever on a turn, and like I said, you don't know what your opponents are shuffling in, so this is actually really, really good for this deck. We have a lot of blues, so doing that is not too hard, but once again, everyone's shuffling their decks together, so you don't really know what you're going to be drawing. And then, of course, I run Gambler's Gloves as my gloves, because why would you not run Gambler's Gloves? It's so fun, especially in UPF. We don't have a ton of dice rolling mechanics in our deck, but I know a lot of people who do. A lot of people play with KO and all that kind of good stuff. Brutes love rolling dice, so Gambler's Gloves, I feel it's in the spirit of this format. And then I just have a full suite of Null Rune if I need the Null Rune, so I don't die to wizards. And that's it. That's all I run for the equipment. It's very simple. I would like to point out now, this is not a budget deck in any means. This is an expensive deck. I purposely put some of my most expensive cards in this deck because I want my friends to be able to play with them. If they are not, you know, someone who has all these fabled cards or alpha E-strikes, I want them to be able to play with them. And that is the point of this. And as such, it's a very expensive deck. If you have the cards, you can build it. Or you know what? The joy of Yorick, if you happen to have one, do whatever you want. And that is the most fun. All right, so there's that. We also have a massive stack of tokens. We'll get to the tokens when we get to a specific card. Here is the deck. One thing I would like to note with Yorick, make sure you are sleeved up in a fairly unique sleeve. So when all of the decks are shuffled together, you know what cards are in your deck. So just keep that in mind. So yeah, you'll want to pick some pretty unique sleeves. These are my Red Zone Rogue sleeves. I think I have 1 box left on the online store, but we will restock with a much crisper version very soon. I digress. Let's start off by talking about the deck. Yeah, we have Heart of Fyendal, and we have Ave Ste. So once again, I want to play with some of the most expensive cards that I own, and I want my friends to play with them as well, and so that's why I have the Ave Ste. Also, well, Ave Ste and Heart of Fyendal are some of just my favorite cards in general, and I really like playing with them, so that's why they get in the UPF deck. Also, you can gain a lot of life with a Heart of Fyendal. At the end of the game when we played, it was literally only a bunch of eyes and hearts, because other people were playing with eyes and hearts as well, and Drone of Brutality, which is hilarious. And you know what? I'm gonna go grab Drone of Brutality here. So here's my Drone of Brutality. It is an alpha pink pitch foil. It's a 2-cost 6 attack, blocks for 2, and when it's put into the graveyard from anywhere, it goes back on the bottom of your deck, and everyone shares the same deck. And so if other people are running Drone of Brutalities, at the end of the game, instead of, you know, going through the entire deck, you'll just have a bunch of hearts, because these don't block or anything like that. You'll have a bunch of hearts, eyes, and drones, which is so good. It's so good. I only run 1 drone just for the fun of it. We also run Go Bananas, because I put Go Bananas in all my UPF decks. This is a card, it's an instant for 0 that lets you open up Flesh and Blood booster packs. You name a card, you open up Flesh and Blood booster packs, and then you get that card. It has to be an action card, so it can't be instants or equipment or hero or whatever, but it's just so much fun, and I want my friends to open up booster packs and get cards as well. Bonus points if you let them keep the cards. We also running Art of War. We're running 2 Art of War. So one part of this deck is just really expensive stuff that I think are fun. Another part is pure jank. And another part are cards that I think are just really good that need to be in there to help close out the game so you're not playing for a million years. These are first edition Art of Wars. I'm running 2 Art of Wars. Just really good generically. Has a lot of modes. You can draw some cards, pump up your attacks, let you block with something from Arsenal, which is pretty interesting. Give something go again. Just a really good card. One of the best cards in the entire game, in my opinion. Speaking of which, we have Alpha Pink Pitch and Light and Strike. We're running 2 of these. Very versatile card, just helps close out games, or you can draw some cards or do some other, you know, go again shenanigans. So we're running 2 Enlightened Strikes. Similarly, we are running Command and Conquer. We have 2 foil Command and Conquers. These are not first edition, these are unlimited, but they are foil Command and Conquers. So, you know, want my friends to play with some excellent cards. But it's a 2 for 6. Very, very difficult to block because your opponent can't play reaction cards to its chain link, and then it blows up Arsenal. So that's pretty good. We also run a single Exude Confidence because when you're playing Yorick, you need to exude some confidence. Also, it's just a great card. Attacks pretty well, and we're running a lot of blue cards in this deck in particular, so you can get that pump and do some nice pump value. Obviously, we're running a first edition foil. Straight up, you need to run every single card with Yorick on it if you're running a Yorick deck. That's just the rule. I don't make the rules, except for that one, but you know, I just obey them. So we have Coax of Commotion. It's a 0 cost for 4. This is just a UPF staple in my opinion. If it hits a hero, choose any number, quicken token, draw a card, or gain 1 life. It's the Hummingbird. You get to do Hummingbird. I always say all of them. So I'm like, I'm gonna attack you. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do ahead of time. I'm going to choose all of them. And then most of the time, the opponent will let it hit. And then you get to do all of them. And everyone gets to share in the joy. So I'm running a first edition one and then a white border one for the absolute jank. I do own more black border ones, but I love having Alpha E-Strike and then white border Coax. Oh, it's so good. We also are running good old Bingo. This is a 1 for 5, blocks for 3. If it hits a hero, they reveal the top card, or reveal a card from their hand. If it's an attack action card, against Go Again. If it's a non-attack, you get to draw a card. And since everyone's decks are shuffled together, who knows what you're gonna get. Bingo's a lot of fun. Also running this is another card to just help close out games. This is a Alpha Pink Pitch foil Scar for a Scar. Attacks really well. Also, it's an Alpha Pink Pitch Scar for a Scar foil. We're also running a first edition foil red Ravenous Rabble. Same kind of deal. They just help close out the game. I didn't want to put too many of them in the deck, but I wanted to put some really flashy, fun stuff that are like, ooh, if you're a Flesh and Blood player, you drew this, you're like, ooh, that's nice. We're also running 1 of each of the Promises of Plenty. I don't have a first edition foil red. I just have yellow and blue, but this card is perfect for UPF and perfect for this format. 0 for 3, blocks 2. If it's played from Arsenal against Go Again, and if it hits a hero who doesn't have a card in their, if it hits, each hero who doesn't have a card in their arsenal puts a top card of their deck face down in the arsenal. So this is another really good politicking card. You can be like, hey, you know, let it hit, and then everyone will get a card in their arsenal. Sometimes some people don't get a card in their arsenal. It's a great one. So running the full rainbow 1 of each here. Ooh, okay, so here we have Tales of Adventure. This is the Yorick specialization. It's a bit hard to read, but I'll read it out. So it's a 0 drop, blocks for 3. It's a blue pitch card, Yorick specialization. And then it says, each other hero chooses and creates a token that hasn't been chosen. And what we do is we do it in turn order. So it'll be the next player and then all around the table, 1 at a time. So you can do Aether Ashwing, Embodiment of Earth, Embodiment of Lightning, Ponder, Quicken, Rune Chant, Seismic Surge, Soul Shackle, Spectral Shield, or Zen State. Zen State's the last one. And then you create a copper, silver, and gold. And that's what this massive stack is. We have a foil copper, silver, and gold for the Tales of Adventure player. And then we also have just nice versions of tokens. We have Ponder, we have a Seismic Surge, Quicken, Zen State, Rune Chant, Spectral Shield, Frostbite. Really, really pretty Ashwing token. Drawn by Kate Becker. Really, really pretty. We have Embodiment of Lightning, Embodiment of Earth, Soul Shackle, and then some extra little tokens that I have in here. Strategy-wise, what would you want to pick? Ponder is really good because it lets you draw a card at the beginning of your end phase. So drawing cards is great. Seismic Surge is pretty good, but it only actually affects the next Guardian attack action. So only good if you're playing Guardian, I suppose. Quicken's always great, giving Go Again on something. Zen State's a really interesting one, where it says enters arena with a balance counter, and at the beginning of your action phase, destroy it unless you remove a balance counter from it. Whenever your hero would take damage, prevent 1 of the damage. it's really good. So getting a Zen State out is actually quite nice. Rune Chant, you know what these do. 1 arcane damage. Spectral Shield helps absorb some damage, or if you're playing a Illusionist, maybe you can use it for other things. I don't think Frostbite was on. Was Frostbite on here? I don't think Frostbite was on here. I think I just have it in here just to have it in here. Yeah, Frostbite's not on here. So you can't choose Frostbite to Frostbite yourself. But you can choose the Aether Ashwing. Good luck attacking with it if you're not Dromai. But it's still a 1/1 with Arcane Barrier. So it gives you a little bit of Arcane Barrier, which is pretty good. Embodiment of Lightning is similar to Quicken. Embodiment of Earth is kind of a weird choice, but maybe you really need to defend. If you're gonna pick Embodiment, just pick the Zen State, unless someone's picked it already. And then Soul Shackle. I don't know why you would pick this, but maybe you're Levia? I don't know. There it is. So yeah, you can pick any of these. The Primo picks are, well, I mean, there's some hit and miss ones here. There's some hit and miss picks here, but like the Quicken, the Ponder, the Zen State, these are your Primo picks that a lot of folks will choose. And then of course you as the player get the full money suite, which is nice. All right, so that is Tales of Adventure, probably the most in-depth card here. We also have a foil Fiendel, or Tome of Fiendel, which is great. You know, just draw some cards, gain some life, good stuff. We have a foil first edition Fate Foreseen. So Opt is super cool and super fun in this Yorick format because you are opting the top card of the communal deck. So it's actually the next card that someone else will draw, not you. So it's super interesting, and you can kind of like, you know, leave it on top, put it on the bottom, depending on how good it is. So I really like Opt here. And that's also why I put a first edition foil Foresight, which is a 1 for a +3 on an attack action. But if it's played from Arsenal, you get an Opt too. So I really like the Opt. I didn't talk about it too much with Ave Ste, but Ave Ste being able to Opt is just super nice in this format. So it's even better than it normally is. So we have those. This round's on me. Once again, you got to put all the Yorick cards in. It's also just a huge slam dunk. For 1 resource, it pitches for 3, blocks for 3. Each hero draws a card, and then until the start of your next turn, all attacks that target you have -1. And that's all attacks, so attack action cards, weapons, all that good stuff. Obviously, we're running 2 of these, because you gotta. We also have a white border Gorgonian Tome. I have a first edition foil Gorgonian Tome, but I choose to run the white border Gorgonian Tome. Gorgonian Tome is just awesome. I think it's a slam dunk in UPF. Everyone I know who plays UPF always puts Gorgonian Tome in your deck. All right, next up we have Knick-Knack Bric-a-Brac and all of our cold foil bric-a-brac. Okay, so Knick-Knack Bric-a-Brac. It's a 3-drop. As additional cost to it, you may destroy any number of copper, silver, and or gold you control. So this is our payoff for all of our copper, silver, and gold we may create. And it says, search your deck for a card with Amulet, Potion, or Talisman in its name, put it into the arena, then shuffle. For each 4 copper, 2 silver, and or 1 gold destroyed this way, repeat this process. So cashing in a gold, getting 2 things is pretty good. It's pretty good. Or you can just pay 3 and go get something nice. What are the nice things that we have? Well, we have Time Snap Potion, which we can use the action to gain 2 action points, which is great. We have Energy Potion, which we can do at instant speed and gain 2 resources. We have Potion of Strength, which this one is an alpha foil. The other 2 are just regular foils. You can destroy to give your next attack +2. We also have Healing Potion, which you can crack to heal for 2. A lot of these potions do similar things. It's always comes in 2s. This one, all the rest are cold foil, by the way. We have Clarity Potion cold foil instant. You get an Opt to, which is great. Like I said, Opt is really fun in this format. We have Crazy Brew, which notably you cannot go search for with Knick-Knack because Crazy Brew does not have Amulet, Potion, or Talisman in its name, but it's Ultimate Pit Fight. You're playing Yorick, you can house rule this however you want, and I always house rule, you can get Crazy Brew with Knick-Knack. So yeah, there's Crazy Brew. It's crazy. You roll a dice. So this is the 1 card that you actually roll dice for in this deck, so you can you know, use your Gambler's Glove to re-roll your Crazy Brew die, if you so desire. We also have Potion of Deja Vu, one of my favorite potions, and one of the only potions that does not have the number 2 in it. Destroy it, put all cards from your pit zone on top of your deck in any order. It's very weird and interesting, but fun. The fact that you put it on top of the deck is super fun because your next player will be the one to draw those cards, possibly. Depending on what you have in your hand, depending on what you got going on, but still, you can set it up so your opponent draws some stuff. I don't know, it's fun. We have a Potion of Ironhide. Destroy it. Attack action cards you own gain +1 defense this turn. Really good for a good blocking, defending turn. We have Potion of Luck, another one of my favorites. Instant, destroy it, shuffle your hand and arsenal into your deck, and then draw that many cards, which is great. We also have some talismans, so those are all potions. Talismans all have Go Again on them when you play them, which is great, where the potions do not. So they all cost 0, they all pitch for blue, they all don't block, which is also kind of hilarious. So this one says, at the beginning of your end phase, if you have less cards in arsenal than an opposing hero, destroy it and put the top card of the deck into an empty arsenal zone you control. So it's just a great way to get some arsenal goodness here. We also have Talisman of Warfare, which I really like. It is a yellow talisman, and it says, go again. When a source you control deals exactly 2 damage to an opposing hero, destroy this and all cards in all arsenals. All arsenals. Everyone's arsenal. So, yeah, I like this card. I like this card in UPF. And then we have Amulet of Ignition, which is another 0 yellow amulet. It says, go again, instant, destroy it. The next ability you activate this turn that costs... The next ability you activate this turn costs 1 resource less. Activate this ability only if you haven't played a card or activated an ability this turn. Yeah, so there's our suite of goodness here. There are a couple cards from the new set Dynasty that we could include here, and I'll kind of show them off in just a second. And those, of course, are the Imperial suite of legendary items. Legendary in function, not in rarity. You can only have one of them in your deck. You have the Imperial Warhorn, which says, cost 2 to play. It's an item, doesn't block for anything. It's red pitch action for a resource. Destroy it. Choose any number of heroes. Each of them chooses an ally, aura, item, or landmark permanent they control. Destroy each permanent chosen this way. If you are royal instead, you choose the permanents, which is really, really nice. We can maybe run the royal hat to make a royal Yorick. That's a possibility. We have Imperial Edict, which once again is legendary. This one costs 1 to play. Action, destroy Imperial Edict. Name a card. The named card can't be played until the start of your next turn. If you are royal instead, each opponent reveals their hand, then name a card. This one is less fun. So, I mean, neither of them are that fun. They're just like everyone gets hosed except for you. And then you also have Imperial Ledger, which is 0. So we have a 0 drop, a 1 drop, and a 2 drop. This one says action, shuffle it into its owner's deck, create a copper token. If you're a royal, create a gold token. I like this one. This is the one that's most likely to make it into the deck because it has like the spirit of the deck, though the Warhorn is pretty good too. So these are your new options for Dynasty. But either way, I love this deck. It is so much fun to play. This is the deck that I'm going to bring to literally every single event where I have friends also attending the event, because the spirit of this deck is to play with your friends and just have an absolutely awesome time. You can play with other UPF decks too if you want to have that, the normal experience, but this is a whole experience in of itself because you have the crazy mechanics and you have, everyone's stuff just kind of jumbled together. It's a lot of fun. One thing I like to note with this is the deck is all about, giving, but a lot of the deck blocks for nothing. So you can kind of game it a little bit if you see your opponent's, if you look at your opponent and you see that they're holding some cards from your deck, you can guess that, maybe there's like a 50% chance that some of those cards can't block at all. Because not only do we have all the potions, we have stuff like Gorgonian Tome, Go Bananas, the Heart and Eye, none of these cards block. So I think a good chunk of the deck doesn't block at all, but that's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. Absolutely love this deck. Like I said, it is my love letter to Flesh and Blood, and, just a great way to have a great afternoon or evening with friends. Let me know what you think of the deck in the comments down below. Definitely check out that deck tech. You can check out my online store as well if you'd like to support me, or check out my Patreon or channel memberships. I appreciate it all so much. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next time.